And welcome to Medical Mondays, y'all. This is your host with the most THC in his motherfucking bloodstream, BERG. That's Berg, motherfuckers. And of course, I got my right hand man, my compadre, my co host with me, Ed Rocho.
What up, though?
What up, though, man?
I was just watching the show.
Oh, yeah, no, it's pretty dope, baby.
Yeah, man. Everybody tune in. It's happening.
And of course, we got our special guest, Chad Morrow. Did I say it right? Morrow?
Chad Morrow.
Morrow?
You got it.
Morrow?
Yeah.
Morrow?
Morrow.
Oh, Morrow. See, I said it wrong. All right, I spelled it wrong. It's right now. So stop yelling at me, Chad. Thanks for joining us tonight, man.
If he wins, they're
Thanks for
never
having
going to
me.
pick up the garbage over there. Like, leave it.
And
Leave it.
Well, you brought your friend today. From what do you want to say? Who you are? All right,
Yeah, introduce yourself, man.
I'm Trev.
Trev. Yeah, I mean, what was it? I can't remember the name of the place.
Used to own Green River Meds in Detroit on
Alright.
Grand River.
All right, but yeah.
Grand River and what?
Telegraph, it was the good days, man.
Okay.
Shoot.
What was that like?
Well, we were open since 2013,
Mm-hmm.
so we pretty much seen it all. Like I was telling him on the way, I mean, there was days where we had the entire store in the back of a U-Haul just driving around waiting to see what was going to go down, so. But never any issues. Closed on good terms, so we're just kind of waiting to see what happens with the future.
Yeah, let's hope you guys get a chance to come back.
For sure. You want to give a shout out to our sponsors, Roach,
Man,
before we start?
let's do the sponsor thing, man. I'm going to give them like 3 seconds to pull up the graphic. But, man, big shout out to Treetop and Ghostbuster Farms. Both rang the bell at the Cup. Shout out Green Thumb for President, Honeybee Extractions, Western Tobacco of Westland. Man, there's like so many now. I'm trying to do it without turning my head and looking at that screen, but I know we got Dr. Greenbuds, Mr. As Seen on TV, for sure. Berg's favorite, Label My Motherfucking Bud.
What?
And then, man, the person who puts Label My Motherfucking Bud through the most paces, Native Made 313.
Boom.
Man, sticker game on point.
What about our newest sponsor?
Oh, man. Have I made it that far yet?
Yeah.
I was going to save that one for last.
Oh, all right.
But I would still have to mention Valhalla Labs. Man, what's been up with them? Come through.
Right.
And Ipsy Oil Supply
Boom.
for all your extracting needs. I think they even have classes over there.
Oh, yeah.
It's pretty lit.
Yeah.
Are you guys familiar with them?
Yeah.
Yeah, they do that shit,
Kinda
right?
Pretty well.
Yeah, boom, boom. And then
Our newest.
I made it. Now I know I made it.
Our newest sponsor.
Man, prestigious.
He's been a supporter
Long-time
before
supporter.
he was a sponsor. He's helped us out a few times.
Yeah. And Michigan Cannabis License. Michigan Cannabis Licensing.
Oh.
Yes.
Licensing
Michigan
law.
Cannabis Lawyer on IG. Helping people take advantage of these social equity programs that are in effect now. So get at your boy. It's about to be lit. Take advantage, people.
For sure.
60% off application fees. It's not enough, but it's something. Let's get it.
Yeah, for sure. It is. I mean, 60% off is something.
No, it's definitely something. I mean, you
I
know,
understand
what
there's
are your
some
feeling on these social equity programs? I don't know if you had a chance to listen to our panel, unfortunately we couldn't catch yours, so I
No,
I
understand.
caught some of it. I was there
Yeah, Berg
towards
was
the
there.
tail end.
Yeah, I missed your guys' unfortunately as well. You know, I got feelings both ways. I think, you know, truthfully, it doesn't stretch across enough of areas. You know,
Yeah, it's only 19 cities right now.
right.
hmm And it's supposed to be like the hardest hit cities, so it's like more, the more concentrated urban areas. You know, I know a couple of people feel like that that's racially driven and stuff, and in fact, like it's available to anybody who's a resident.
For
So
sure.
whatever.
I mean, really, I see it as an opportunity for people who have lived in Detroit, to, benefit in some way, shape, or fashion. That, like, I just look at Corktown. I mean, Corktown's nice as fuck now, but all those people who live in Corktown, they didn't grow up in Corktown.
No,
They moved there. They purchased the.
Gentrification.
Oh yeah, for sure.
major
You know,
colonization.
why
Same
can't why
thing.
can't inner city people see that? I mean, at least in this fashion, especially as many people as the inner city is sent to fucking jail over weed. You know what I'm saying? Like, I understand it happens out in the burbs too, but we all know, like, it's give or take in the hood. Like, I don't know, man. Like, so you're running for city council in Allen Park, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
Awesome. So,
Like, where did you grow up though?
yeah.
I grew up actually in Sheboygan, Michigan, way up north, 15 miles from the Mackinac Bridge.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
That's the Starman City.
You know where Hubbard Lake is?
familiar with it. I've never been there, but I've
Oh,
got an
alright.
idea where it's at.
Alright.
Yeah. And then I moved down to Gaylord, Michigan after, you know, graduated from high school and stuff.
I got family in
Um,
Gaylord.
Was in Gaylord for
Where'd
about
this go?
12 years. But then came down here last year.
So do you know any of the history of like dispensaries in Allen Park?
Yeah, I've got a crash course learning from a few people in there. You
Yes.
know that not only
So
just
you want
the
to talk about that? Because I personally
Let's.
only I know of two that were open and shut
Short-
down.
shortly, yeah.
There was three.
There was two that were pretty public on Allen Road there,
Mm-hmm.
and then there was one on E-Course, right on E-Course in a business building, but it was the second floor, I think, of like an insurance office.
Did they have like a purple awning?
I think so.
Yeah,
It
I
was
think
super-
I
it
know
was-
where it was,
It
but
was
I
super
never.
low key. They tried to go more off like the caregiver like referral system. So if you if you knew somebody, you knew somebody, but it wasn't so much public.
That's smart.
Right. So there was three, and like I know. Was there one open in the old like? It was like an ice cream place before. Was that as?
Yeah, it was like it was kind of next to that ice cream place. I know what you're talking about. It was right there on Allen Road, across from the KFC in the library. There.
Oh no, I know where that one was.
Yeah.
Where was the other one?
The other one was on the corner of Allen and Thomas in a big medical building. There was
Oh, alright.
and there was
Yeah,
a
I
bunch
know.
of offices in there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, GLCC was the name of it,
Wow.
and then CCG
I
was
think
the
I
other one.
went there
Is that
for
the division of
fucking.
Great Lakes Compassion Club? Is that what that stood for?
It's not this Henry Ford fucking
No,
office building.
no.
thing.
Yeah, they were affiliated with CCG was affiliated or affiliates of the Reef now. A couple of the same owners. I'm not sure if it's all the same current owners because I know the people have come in and out.
Oh
but
yeah. Is school here?
No.
Oh, all right.
I was a senior when those things were. I was in high school.
Oh, yeah?
I had gotten my card, and it was my buddy was a year older than me, and he came over one day with some bud in a prescription bottle. It was the beginning of 2010,
Yeah.
and I couldn't believe it.
I remember the first time I ever had some dispensary weed. and it was. I didn't purchase it, but I didn't have a fucking card for the longest, but I finally got one. But the first dispensary weed I ever fucking tried was called Obama Kush, and I was like,
Yeah.
what the fuck? But
I remember all the bud back then being really good.
Yeah.
In the shops.
Yep.
Because I was a senior, man, so I was coming off of like smoking Reggie for like the last 6 years, you know.
yeah,
And every bud in that shop was fire. It seemed like.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, no, I don't know. See, I was in Detroit when like the dispensaries started like booming, and it was like a give or take. There were some places where it was just trash.
Yeah.
Like the weed just looked sweaty, and some places really did have like some quality flower and some quality companies in their roster as far as what they stocked on their shelves. So, you know, they kind of weeded themselves out because there was so many.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, so I think that's like, you know, like maybe the advantage Detroit had to like Allen Park dispensaries. If you're saying there was like what, 3?
man, Detroit was flooded at one point in time. Man.
Yeah.
I remember 8 Mile. Like I remember
Gratiot.
driving down 8 Mile. Oh yeah, Gratiot too.
I remember seeing an article. They did a count. It was like 450 shops.
Yeah, and probably like 250 of them were on an 8 Mile.
About
Yeah.
a third of them had drive-throughs.
Yep.
Yeah, we used to be open 24 hours. We used to not shut down. The cops would come and direct traffic at our drive-through for us down Grand River.
Wow.
Detroit police officers.
For a tip.
They would just pull them off Grand River and make them go on the side street.
Mm.
Yeah,
That's
it's pretty
crazy.
pretty insane.
Yeah.
It really is, especially, you know, coming from where I came up north. I mean, our dispensaries, they were all trash. You know, I mean, the bud wasn't good.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it was just a bunch of, you know, people that didn't really know what they were doing. That's what kind of instigated me to go open one up. So I opened one up, but I drove down to Flint, Detroit, Lansing, Ann Arbor, all over to, you know, to bring the product back up so we could have decent product up north.
All right.
Damn.
And okay, so I'm not from Allen Park, so like I had to look you up a little bit, and I saw that like you did like 20 days.
15, you know,
Yeah,
when it
I don't know,
comes down, you know, but
Yeah.
yeah, it was an interesting thing up there. I mean, that's really what got me involved in wanting to be in politics.
And where was that at?
Gaylord. They had dispensaries up there for like just shy of 5 years, and I had a part-time job at one. Went to work one night for a PM shift. The place was locked up, and I didn't have a key, obviously, because I was a part-time employee. Couldn't get anybody on the phone. Somebody pulled in and told me the places all got raided that day, and I didn't even know because I was working my other job in the day time. So I went straight to the jail, tried to see if I could bond my buddies out. They said no, they were getting arraigned in the morning. So I had to wait till the next day.
I thought they were gonna be like, oh, by the way, step
No.
in here.
Unfortunately, that didn't happen. I was thinking the same thing, nervous about going in, but so with that said, you know, I mean, after that it was we did some petitioning or protesting, and then we actually did a petition, and the community up there. This was in 2015, end of 15, early 16, and stuff. So that wasn't something that we really could do then. But the community saw the support as far as the city council, so they put everything on the books. And that's when I decided to open up my own shop, and we ended up having about 8 more shops open, and we were all back open again. And shortly thereafter, they came and kicked the doors again. So even with a city charter and us voting for it, and the city supporting us, local police were on the record saying at the city police level that they had never had any complaints with us, and so we decided we were going to reopen and fight it in court, and use the charter. We ended up actually getting my prosecutor unelected in his own primary, which put everything on hold for a whole year. Yep. And the guy that beat him switched from Democrat to Republican to run in that, and it was the guy that lost 4 years earlier. So he took his job back, It was all over the news about how all these young voters, we'd never seen so many young voters show up. I personally got over 20 people myself, brought them up to register them to vote. So we were really effective there. But even after that happened, the new prosecutor that we got elected recused himself from our cases because we had campaigned for him. At which point, Attorney General Bill Schuette appointed another prosecutor to our case. And that person was absolutely insane. They had me raided again and wanted to have me charged with a felony for every day that we were open, which would have been over, 360 something days, so it would have been a lot of felony charges. But the judge didn't go for it. Long fight ensued. I wasn't allowed to go within 2,000 feet of the building at that point in time. 13 charges at that point in time. Spent about $70K in lawyer fees, and ended up, taking a plea bargain because you couldn't bring in the city charter or anything like that. It was all considered inadmissible because it didn't, trump state law. Medical marijuana cards were considered inadmissible because the people that bought from us, granted that they had a card, they weren't our direct patient on the registry, so we weren't allowed to even talk about the Medical Marijuana Act in court. So I was basically going to go into trial and just say I was, a guy that sold a bag of weed to another person without any of that other information given, so we took a plea.
Meanwhile, we had 50 cars down the block being escorted by Detroit police to our drive-thru.
Exactly. So that, of course, couldn't be brought up either because it wasn't up there. So we took the plea. My former business partner, who was the one that originally got arrested when I was a part-time worker, he got found guilty of one charge at a jury trial, not guilty on another charge, and a hung verdict on the third and final charge. He ended up getting 6 months in jail. He's now a current city council member in the city of Gaylord. So he did the exact same thing that I'm trying to do now, is just, take what we learned and get involved in politics, because what we're seeing, we passed recreational cannabis last November with Prop 1, and we've got over 300 communities already that have opted out.
Yeah, and I was gonna ask you that. Like, were you for recreational?
Absolutely.
Yeah. See, yeah. I mean, I just felt that. I mean, they don't. Michigan is a
Ask
whole.
them why first, Bert. Give them a chance. Why did you? Why were you yes to recreational?
No.
Personally, I think it could have been done in a lot better ways in a lot different areas, but I look at the fact that I wanted to stop seeing people arrested. That was the biggest thing right there. It's just the amount of people getting arrested and going to jail. Not so much maybe down here, but I've seen a lot of people going to jail and getting arrested and harassed that had medical cards. That medical thing really wasn't working for everybody.
Yeah, I mean, I totally see that, but like, I mean,
Now you can get them.
they don't even fucking they don't even got shit in place for medical yet. I mean, I personally think recreational is like totally shitting on the real patients out there.
Oh, I'll agree with that too.
Like, I mean, basically, I see like I mean, me and Roach spent like the last High Times Cup, not the one in Detroit, but the one up in Clio earlier this year. When was that? June. Yeah. Well, we went and we went as custos. You know what I'm saying? Like, first off, why the fuck isn't there no like patient line? There's all kinds of people in fucking wheelchairs and shit, like old ass people, like standing with fucking, like not crutches, but walkers and all kinds of shit, like standing in a fucking quarter-mile fucking line. Before that, who was all the people going to High Times Cup? It was only the patients.
Well,
The patients were the only ones allowed in there. You know what I'm saying?
My only thing to that though is when it comes, I see what you're saying, but with me, I don't think the High Times ever really took care of the patients either, though.
No, they.
True. We'd have muddy rain inline or infields at the racetrack, and people with wheelchairs unable to get places. I remember a few times helping some people in wheelchairs out there, and I don't think High Times has ever been for the patients.
No, but
But I
That's
mean,
who
I'm just
people
saying.
support.
I'm just saying.
that's who was
Like,
there.
you know, once it went wreck, it was free for all. Anybody from anywhere can come.
The industry has changed a lot in the past year.
Oh yeah, for sure.
The people, everything.
Yeah,
yeah,
for
it's a
sure.
different vibe.
All the, I mean, would you say like 85% of the brands we used to know are just vanished?
Oh yeah,
Oh,
Just
or
gone.
changed names.
Yeah.
yeah, they're still here. They're just under a
Yeah,
different name.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just you got to seek it now because not every shop is full of it. You know,
No.
it's like this. You know, you got to go search for it again, like it's 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Just feels different.
Wasn't there like something recently? It was like that you posted about was it the feds that announced like all dispensaries, even in like Colorado? or,
What
like-
happened is a friend of mine, Danny Trevino, had a dispensary. Well, he had a few dispensaries. He was in Lansing, Grand Rapids, Jackson, Mount Pleasant. And he had two locations in Lansing. He'd been raided. I mean, his mom said in an interview 31 times. I thought he said 26, but either way, a lot.
Yeah,
All by the state. And he beat several trials. He won, was acquitted, found not guilty. And he also did the asset forfeiture afterwards, fought for his stuff back, and won all of his stuff back every time. With that happening, he then ended up getting raided by the feds, which was because the state couldn't get him, really. And they just found him guilty this week, as a matter of fact. And he reported today to the federal building in Grand Rapids, and he gets sentenced in November. He's looking at a minimum of 11 years. And it's just something that everybody was literally when the feds arrested him, there was a dispensary right across the street, open and running, and maybe 700 to 1,000 feet down the road there was another one. They were fine, but Danny got arrested. And with that said, the prosecutor in the court case said that to the federal authorities, all dispensaries in the country, even the ones in Denver, was his quote, are illegal.
I mean, it's fact though. You know what I'm saying? I totally get like, I mean, that's what I keep saying over and over and over to people. Like at a federal level, it's still illegal. They still consider it a Schedule 1 narcotic.
Well, the one thing is they got the Rohrabacher-Farr Amendment, which restricts the feds from using any of their funds in states. But the loophole to that is exactly what happened to Danny, is that you have to be 100% in strict compliance with the state law. And if they take one interpretation of it and say that you're not, you lose all protections.
Yep.
And then, it's fair game for them. And
Oh, yeah.
you're going to lose every time against them.
Hmm.
Fun.
Yeah, I don't know. It almost seems like it's a personal thing.
No, for sure.
Oh, it absolutely is.
Like the feds don't like you.
Yeah. I mean, it was when you start getting into political things too, you can really make some enemies. I mean, Danny himself ran for mayor. Found out that in the city of Lansing they got a restriction that you can't be a felon and run for mayor, so he dropped out of the race and his son picked up the race.
Oh,
Yeah. So I mean, it was that resilience, and they wanted to stop him and shut him up.
Wow. That's
I mean,
crazy.
that's just like what was going on with me, up north. My arresting officer.
And that was a Gaylord.
Yeah, he was a state trooper, and out of the
I like the
Gaylord
way he
Post.
says that. I like
And
the
I
way you
went-
say that, Berg.
Where was it, Berg?
Gaylord?
But over in Cadillac, there was an arrest.
What? I'm saying it. Am I saying it wrong?
Gaylord.
Gaylord.
It was like a
Fogger.
question.
Gaylord Fokker.
I beat you to the punch.
Tomato. Whatever. All right.
But yeah, my arresting officer ended up arresting some friends of mine in other towns that had dispensaries, far away in different districts, and Then he started showing up at all our protests that we were doing and saying, we have a little spot for you. And I started realizing, he's like following us around like we're his detail.
Yeah.
And shortly into all this, he took an early retirement. And then the governor at the time, which was Governor Snyder, appointed him to the Michigan Medical Marijuana Licensing Board. It was Trooper Don Bailey. So, we saw his kind of obstructionism that he was doing throughout the licensing process before they got rid of him. But even in that time span, because of like my activism and speaking out, and I mean, I showed up, I went to all the meetings, the public meetings in Lansing, spoke my mind and stuff like that about, different things I thought that he should be considering. Informed him some things, too. Like I had a video, it's on YouTube. All you have to do is search Sergeant Don Bailey, and he's at one of the raids saying on video there's no such thing as medical marijuana, but here at the point in time he's sitting on a licensing board for that very thing. So
Exactly. Yeah, that was one especially roaches, but I think both of our gripes is like, all these people that they're putting on a fucking marijuana board were totally against fucking marijuana, or still are. So it's like, how the fuck are they gonna like say anything about the schedule? Like the different laws and all that shit.
Yeah, it's a conflict of interest. Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, like if medical marijuana is your competition, how are you gonna help it grow?
Yeah.
Like,
Good question.
it's just that simple.
Yeah. I mean, I see. I mean,
for everybody there.
it's
like,
hard to
the
see
police
how anybody
and
could
pharmaceuticals.
not think that was like a conflict of interest. You know what I'm saying?
absolutely.
I mean, it's
Whatever ended up happening with who was the head of that board?
Rick Johnson.
Whatever ended up happening with that investigation against Rick Johnson.
He's still being investigated. Those
So-
things take a long time. But the FBI is investigating him with his emails with Arlen Meekoff and some other people, that should not have been communicating with one another per the law that were anyways.
wow.
And I mean, it's just like, when I went into jail, for that short 15-day little thing there, I mean, I was in there, the guy shut the door, locked it, I put my mat up on the bunk, I didn't even have it made.
What was the jail called? Up there?
Otsego
Was it
County Jail.
What?
Otsego County
Oh,
Jail.
all right, that's
So with that said, I didn't even have my bunk made, and they said, Morrow, you got company. And I'm like, well, nobody gets a visit this soon. So I go back out, and here there's a state trooper waiting for me and serving me papers that was giving me a a restraining order, and the restraining order was issued by board member Don Bailey. So, of course, I'm in jail for 15 days, and it says you have to, respond within 14 to fight this. So I get right on the phone with my attorney, and we file it. So a couple weeks after I got out of jail, I had to go to Traverse City. He represented himself, so we went on the stand and had a conversation, basically, the two of us, because he got to question me. And the judge agreed with me the entire time. He's like, my daughter is scared to death of this man. She's special needs. And the judge says, I didn't even know he had a daughter until he said this. So the judge says, well, why? What has he done? Has he been to a restaurant that you're eating at and stared? No. Has he been to a grocery store and, followed you around? Well, no. Has he called you, emailed her, sent any kind of mail in correspondence? No. So how does your daughter even know about him? Well, like any concerned father, I had a meeting with my family and brought up his Facebook and told them all about him. So your exaggerated fear put into your daughter is really what's scaring her, Mr. Bailey. And she threw the whole thing out of court, of course.
Wow. So he was basically getting his daughter to say that.
Like, did you ever say anything about his kid? Or?
I didn't even know he had a daughter until that day.
Wow. Imagine that.
Chad kind of had a little thing for Don Bailey on Facebook for a while, so that might have led, it wasn't anything dangerous, I would say. There was never any threats. I seen all of it,
I mean,
Chad
that
was
sounds
angry.
generational perception,
Bro,
I mean,
doesn't this kind of sound like some
You can go back and
Catholic
see all of it. too.
fucking school shit.
Yeah, this
Like
Catholic
like
school.
how the nuns used to just like make shit up
Yeah.
like out of the blue.
No, okay. I'm gonna tell the story.
All right.
It was like the first day of like 6th grade. No, 7th grade.
8th grade was like we were segregated. We were
I think
like
it was
girls
7th
and
grade.
boys.
The first
So-
day of 7th grade.
7th grade.
This teacher, just like at the very beginning of school, announced that Berg had made some threats to her.
Yeah. Oh, and that she
Yeah.
wasn't even a nun though. She wasn't even a nun.
No, she was just a
Can I say
regular
her
lady.
name? No,
I don't want to.
Say her name.
All right, man.
No, I don't even think
Well,
she's
anyways,
alive anymore.
Supposedly, Berg made like the finger guns, and pulled the trigger at her on her way home, which she lived right around the school, like many of us did. However, Berg like probably lived one of the furthest people away from the school, and like there was no way that was him. You know, like no.
It was before school even started. Like she's talking about, I did this, and
Like
I didn't
over the
even
summer.
know her.
Yeah. Like all the students were just like, wow.
Yeah, in front of everybody.
Yeah, like we were, the kids knew the neighborhood, and like we knew each other, and like that was like the most ridiculous thing to imagine.
I think you and Rudy were the first motherfuckers I looked at. Like I looked at you, and I looked at Rudy, and I'm like, bruh, like I don't even live around here.
Yeah.
Man.
And
No,
no,
I live
like
over
that's
by a cemetery, nowhere near here.
like on the very edge of the hood. And like it was crazy because like if you think about it, like the way shit happens like today in school, like yeah, Berg would have been on CNN for a potential
Oh,
shooting
for
system,
sure.
shooter in progress, detained.
Oh man.
I'm sure they would have found some weapons in your room.
Well, 95% of all guns held to my face were by police. So like when cops always ask me what the fuck you nervous about, it's like, bruh, it's PTSD, man.
PTSD
I
that
grew
you
up in
gave
the
us.
hood. There was G Squad. There's gold letters. Like that shit was like real shit. Like motherfucking cops beat
They call them
our
something
friends
different
like half to death and leave them in the fucking alley type shit, you know?
now. They didn't get rid of them. They called them something different. I was actually
Oh,
reading that the other day.
RoboCop, bro. You heard about RoboCop?
Yeah.
They fired him and then they fucking hired him in fucking Inkster and then he killed some fucking old black dude and was fucking laughing about it on film and shit. Like, and then they finally fire him. He got early retirement from Detroit.
Insanity.
It's crazy, man. Like they treat cops like they're fucking priests and shit.
Yep. That's one thing
It's-
I'm a big thing
It's
about.
it's
is
crazy how much similarities you see.
I want to see police accountability too. A lot of people like to say that I don't like cops, but I honestly,
I have no
dislike 'em.
problems with-
We need them. They need to be held accountable when they do the dumb shit.
Yeah.
Don't
Like
get
as
me
a whole, it
wrong.
represents some shit bad, but like they're people like anybody else, man. And like I'll say a good 60% of police are not tough guys. None of them,
They grew up being picked on,
So-
like straight up.
I can't say like
At least a quarter of all the kids we went with school, at Holy Redeemer, at least 25% of them became police, and they weren't.
Oh, yeah.
yeah, no, and
They
it's
weren't
like
popular.
it's systematic problem. They need to do a better job about the people they make police.
Oh,
Oh,
we got a
shit.
caller.
Damn. What up, caller? You there? Who is this? What you smoking on?
Are they there, man? Did you hang up on them? They hung up?
Now there they go. You there,
Hello?
caller?
Hey, what's up, guys?
Oh, what's up, man? Who's this?
That's K. Dot.
Not
Money
much.
B
I just figured I'd
Extractions.
give a call in, see what's going on with you guys.
What are you smoking on, man?
Hello, hello.
Can you
Yeah,
hear
can
us,
you
man?
hear us?
Okay, yeah, I couldn't
All right.
hear you for a second. You
All right.
cut out.
Yeah, what are you smoking on, homie?
I got some the Purple Wow and actually.
Oh, okay, yeah, the connection is kind of bad for us, too.
Yeah. Is it better now?
Yeah, so, man, I'm surprised you're even awake, bro. You had a big
Yeah,
day.
well, you want to know what? I knew Chad was coming in tonight. That man is amazing. He does so much for the community. He's one of the biggest activists that I know around this area. And I wanted to come in tonight and be able to meet him personally. We're friends with each other on Facebook. Like I said, he's an amazing person. But we were out in the hemp fields today up in northern Michigan, and it took us almost 4 hours to get where we were going. And by the time I got back, I was just beat tonight.
I saw that picture of you on Facebook, man. Those looks like some healthy hemp plants you were around.
Yeah, and they're actually that's all organically grown. They don't have any kind of system out there to water them, so Mother Nature's been taking care of all of that, and they look amazing.
Wow. Impressive.
Yeah, very, very impressive. But yeah, I heard about Trevino. I read that today. That's a really, really sad situation that's going on with that guy.
Yeah, it's definitely one that should have been avoided, I think.
Yeah, I kind of feel that the feds used him as a guinea pig and just an example because there was too many people around him doing the same thing, and why they had to, kind of pick on him. I don't understand why.
Well, the big reason they
Especially like you were saying, everything he's been going through this since 2006, and every time he's went through this, it's been thrown out or dismissed.
He's
with
been
that
acquitted
being
in
said,
jury
why
trials.
is he even going through this?
I mean, not only has he been acquitted by jury trials, but the federal jury today, because that was actually brought up in the case in federal court. But the jury instructions in federal court were to disregard any of the state outcomes.
Wow. Yep.
That's insane, man.
Yeah, it's totally insane because you want to know he wasn't doing anything differently than any of these other dispensary owners and that's here in Michigan. And honestly, the guy did a lot of good for the community anyways, and why they had to go after him, understand.
Because they could.
Yeah, man.
It's
So yeah, I just wanted to call in and say good, hi to everybody. I'm getting ready to actually crash out here in about a half hour and trying to stay up and watch as much as what he's say. Like I said, he's really informative, and if anybody's listening out there, give this guy a follow on Facebook and get educated.
appreciate that, Keith.
Boom. Thanks for calling in, man.
For
Yep,
sure.
no problem, man. I wish I could have made it up there tonight, but things happen. I'll try to get up there next week if possible.
For sure, for sure.
All right, man.
All right. Well, thanks again, Medical Mondays, Roachenberg, for putting on a good show. Appreciate you guys.
Oh, man. Much love, man. Rest up, brother.
Yep, already. Good night, guys.
Peace. Shout out to Keith, man. What was that one shit that he brought in that tastes
Sour blue cookies.
Yeah.
That shit was good.
fire?
He's always got a good-looking bud on his Facebook. The
Oh
pictures.
yeah.
Oh, yeah. You've never...
I've never actually met
Oh,
Keith
yeah.
yet face to face.
We have on several occasions, and, yeah, man.
Yeah.
Nice.
Shout out to the puppy's breath. Hopefully coming back. It's coming back, right? He said it's coming back for sure, right?
He said he's getting it back.
All right. Awesome strain. Have you ever had it? It's super fire. I think it's super fire.
I have. Any of the breaths are usually pretty fire, though.
For sure.
Yeah, used to grow the original OGKB, man, like 7 years ago when it first was around, and it was just an amazing strain. It grew stupid, but it was worth smoking, growing. I'm sure you guys remember.
Yeah, man.
How could you forget one like that?
Nah. Fucking that stank breath, man.
Second place winner
Yeah.
at this cup.
Yeah, shout out to Rip, man.
Yeah, they've been fire for a while, man.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
used to always make my way over there and get a zip of the stink breath every
Yeah,
cup.
you can't help it, man. It's just so fucking.
All the way through too, because the
Oh.
extract is great too. of
Oh
that.
yeah!
So
Shout
great.
out to Twiggy. Shout out to Bricklayer. Shout out to
Man, have
Boy
they done
Brad.
some, like, have they washed it yet?
I think they had somebody.
Is there
do-
some stank breath fucking
I s-
live?
I think so, somewhere.
That would be insane. I gotta get that
for sure.
somewhere.
Yeah.
Who else won at the Cup that we want to give an honorable mention, Roach?
Oh man, Ghostbuster and Midnight Roots. It didn't say which strain.
My boy Cosmic Gardens,
You know?
Yeah, Cosmic Gardens won.
a couple different things.
Who was that
Pre-roll,
with?
first place.
It was Cosmic Gardens and who? Well, no, that was for the edible. He won some other shit for a
Won for-
pre-roll or some
yeah,
shit.
first
No, they
place.
got
First
Ghost.
place.
First place?
First place on the pre-roll.
Who was the pre-roll by? It was by him.
By him, featuring someone's flower.
Wow.
I forget whose flower it was, but it's
Another-
on the website.
Another couple ones. Zilla's one with
Yeah.
their rub again, first place. And then Frigroli and in Arborside, they won a cup.
They won a couple. Arborside won
Yeah.
like 4,
Yeah.
3 or 4. I don't know.
You can always count on Rory and Jake, Midnight Roots and Arborside, of taking some hardware home.
Yeah.
Yeah, Midnight Roots is coming on next week, Roach.
Yes, next week. So second place went to Covert Extracts, Ghostbuster Farms, our sponsor, and Midnight Roots, who will be our guest next week.
Boom.
You ever
Yeah.
hear him play? He's got Stoned Owl, his music group as well.
Who?
Midnight Roots.
No.
He's
He's a
DJ.
pretty
He's a
big
DJ.
musician, isn't he?
yeah, he's
Over in Europe.
he was actually
What?
like
Yeah.
his
Who?
music group Jake Midnight Roots.
Yeah, dude.
His music group Stoned Owl, which is why the strain Stoned Owl is out there.
That's
But he's a ED techno
See,
music.
man, you're fucking you're ruining our whole interview next week, man. Shut the fuck up, bro. God damn, man. It's like
So anyway, also want to give a huge shout out to the homie JR. He got first place hybrid flower for the Melonade number 7.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, big shout out Special Blend
Blend.
Gardens.
I'd like to get me some of that.
If you've never, man, like he's got a bunch of shit that's
Oh.
retarded, bro. The
Man, that
glaze,
fucking moonshine,
moonshine,
number 8.
breath. Yeah.
They ain't even releasing that for a couple more times, but they tried it on the show. That shit was super fire. What did it taste like, Roach?
Oh, wait a minute. You know, shout out to Valhalla Labs and Cosmic Garden.
All right, yeah, that's who it was.
For,
Yeah,
their
Valhalla
first
Labs
place
is a
free
fucking
roll.
sponsor.
Yeah, Valhalla Labs, our
Yeah.
sponsor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
knew it was
Yeah.
somebody.
Yeah, I knew it was somebody.
And Special Blends got third place for their Orange Skittle pre-roll.
Dude,
So-
Cosmic got, I think, a few, bro.
Yeah, they
Don't
got-
quote me, but
Yeah,
Uh,
no,
different
he got edible one too. I'm
Yeah,
not
he
sure
got
if
third-
was it
third-
first place?
Third place,
Third place.
Cosmic Garden, Coconut Mint Chocolate Chip Push Pop.
Ooh,
Yeah.
those
And
push pops are fire.
First
Yeah.
place, CBD edible
Mm.
for Cookies and Coconut Push Pop by
Ooh.
Cosmic Gardens once again. Yeah.
I knew he got first
He
place
got
edible
third
something.
and first.
I
Dude's
was-
got a whole cabinet at home full of freaking medals. too.
Yeah.
Has to.
uh,
There's one like that, like almost every cup, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, he puts in the work, man.
Yeah.
no, yeah.
He's an animal.
And then
No, he's supported us since man he came by, fucking gave us fucking all kinds of ice cream. We were lit.
but shout out Treetop Labs for third place sativa concentrate. There's that.
Boom. What was the flavor? Did it say?
Tropicana cookies.
Boom.
They look like some diamond sauce. Yeah. Yeah. They look good.
Is that it? Is that all we want to mention?
That, that blunt's right there for you, Roach, whenever you're ready for it, buddy.
Right
which
there.
one? Which one?
there.
Oh, okay.
Figured you'd want that.
Oh, special blend got first place for non-solvent
Oh yeah, who? Oh, what was it?
with
Red
Stanky
Rock?
Rock.
What?
Stanky Rock.
Stanky Rock.
Yeah.
Is that Red Rock?
It's Red Rock and Stank Gardens or some shit like that. It's like a collab on a collab. Yeah. Banana sherbet, bred by 7/10 of an ounce.
What?
Sounds delicious.
Yeah, we try. We keep trying to get 7/10 of on the show.
I think we should. Who's
Really?
Maddie?
Why not?
Who's Maddie B. Stackers? Does anybody know who they
Because
are?
One of our previous guests.
No,
that
I've
was on
followed
the
him. He's a
show.
cat. He's a cat on Instagram. He's on Instagram.
Yeah, I'll have to get at
He's
him.
got some nice kind buds.
Yeah, I mean, shout out to everybody who won, but you know, I felt like I mentioned the cool people.
All right, awesome.
Yeah.
Shit, man. Should we go to break or? Yeah, I think it's.
I don't know, man. I got
what?
Let me ask this guy a couple more questions.
All right, but
So, I guess it's like really good that like you have like this passion for cannabis and you want to push certain initiatives through and you know kind of incorporate into the local governments and create a force to help this cannabis wave continue and grow. That's great. But I guess, you know, like the problem some voters, you know, just in general might have or would have is like, what else are you going to do for said city or township that you're in to make it better besides like get cannabis, you know, like.
Well, I think the cannabis would be a big start to a lot of things. It wouldn't just be access for cannabis, for instance. You're gonna you see a community embracing development, bringing in new industry like that. It's gonna, I believe, encourage, from looking at other states, businesses of other kinds to invest into the community as well. Not only that, but it can increase foot traffic just to surrounding businesses that are already in the town. So that alone will bring in more revenue. It's going to bring in the tax revenue, which can definitely help our city. As you know, I mean, I'm sure you may or may not know the history of Allen Park, but one thing I've heard going door to door is that the people of Allen Park aren't happy with the fact that, you know, they had the Hollywood deal, for instance, years ago.
they were fucked. Allen Park. It was that mayor at the time. I swear.
What's the Hollywood
He got
deal?
I bet
For
you
the-
he got all kinds of money out
For
of
those
that
of us who don't know.
Well, I'm not sure exactly the year that this all went down, but it was the previous mayor, some previous councils. There was a movie studio that was going to come into Allen Park. They moved the police station, the city hall. They did a whole bunch of stuff, and then it didn't pan out. So when the movie studio didn't come, and all this was already done on Allen
They
Park's
bought the
end,
land for twice as what it was worth as well.
Oh yeah.
it basically bankrupted the city. An emergency financial manager was appointed. You know, they got themselves back right again. And shortly from that happening, you know, the EFM's no longer here. They're back in charge of their own affairs. But then there's been some lawsuits for different things that the city's paying, I mean, hemorrhaging some money, really. Unfortunately, talking earlier about police, you know, that's some of the lawsuits are. One of them is a female officer that is retired now and getting full pension from the police department early because she was sexually harassed by one of her coworkers. There's some other ones, you know, there was a guy recently who was body cavity searched. With
I heard about it. Yeah. Don't they got video of that shit?
yeah, I mean, it was in the jail.
Yeah.
You know, they brought him in jail for driving on a suspended license and a body cavity search without the proper warrant, and the officer that did the body cavity search didn't have the proper training to do a body cavity search.
He did it without a glove. They he was smelling his fingers.
But needless to say,
What do they do with these cops? Are they still working?
these cops, fortunately, are no longer on the force anymore. But unfortunately, the mayor was just talking about 6 weeks ago at a council meeting about they can't afford another one of these lawsuits with the amount of money that they put out in litigation and everything with this. So, there needs to be better, like I said before, accountability held here. But at the same token, they're bringing in new police. They're trying to be better. I guess you'd say with community involvement. They're doing meet the cop on the block, things like that, which is good to see. So they're out there, trying to have a better relationship with the public. But there's a lot of things. It's not just the police. It's not just jobs. This issue with obviously the flooding. I'm sure you've heard about it. It's downriver. There's a lot of people that have had plenty of damage in the basements, and they're not happy about that. Again, if we start bringing in more business and actually embracing things, you look around other communities. They call Allen Park the pearl of downriver. And you look at places like Ferndale and Royal Oak and things like that. Ferndale's a great example because 25 years ago the place wasn't anything like what it is now. And Allen Park really could be like the hip, trendy, bustling place.
I could totally. I don't know, man. That little downtown. That shit's. My kids are older, and they go down there. My daughter goes to coffee shop.
That area just needs something new, man. Like what's gonna bring it up?
And it's good to see they are doing some of the things, like Ferndale, in the years before they've used grants and development grants and stuff like that, where they could use some government or money to go with the personal investment of somebody's property, and that's what's happening, here in Allen Park right now with the DDA development of one of the local bars, getting a whole facade on the front of the buildings getting redone, so it'll look better. It's going to add outdoor seating, and things like that, so it is going to, increase the seating capacity and things like that as well. So there's a lot of things that you can, do. They're bringing in a martini bar, and that's one of the things, which makes me really bank back on this cannabis.
They have so many fucking bars already. It blows my mind, man. It's like they keep, and
liquor
they're like,
stores as well.
Oh, you're over there smoking that pot. Not today.
And that's the thing. It's not even just the cannabis, though. Looking at this law, they made it, in my opinion, in a good way when it comes to this opt-out, opt-in thing with the communities. But I think it was designed with the intent, talking to the people that wrote this, Jamie Lowell and the group of them like that, if your community said 59% of us don't support Prop 1 and 41% of us support it, that community has every right to opt out because the majority said no.
Mm-hmm.
But you have a community like Allen Park where 57% of the people said yes. 43% of the people said no, and the council, immediately opted out. I'm not going to disclose any names, but one of the current council members actually told me that was done the very first meeting after the election at high pressure of the mayor, who believes this is a gateway drug to heroin and things like that. And so again, it's not just about the cannabis. It's a lot of it's about just standing up and being a representative of the people.
So
and I think
many people, especially older people, it was drilled into them as a kid. You know what I'm saying?
But I think, like I said, one of the things like I tell the people is I want to be a representative of the voice, even if I'm a minority. Myself. If my personal opinion matches the minority, I'm going to have to look myself in the mirror and say, today it's not the day for me to stand up and say this is my opinion, because if I'm elected and I'm a representative of the people, it's my job to be just that, a representative of the people.
Boom.
Makes sense.
Anything else, Roach?
All right, man. We can take a break.
Take a break?
Yeah.
All right. We're going to go to break.
Which beats what up?
Check 1 1.
Blah.
And we're back. You got the audio set on there? Awesome. And we're back with Chad Morrow and our boy Trev and Roach. And I'm high as shit. But yeah. What were we talking about before the break, Roach?
You know what else was he gonna do for the city?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
There's plenty to do. One thing I picked up on right when I first went into these council meetings is that I'm one of about a half a dozen people. Nobody attends these council
Oh yeah,
meetings.
for sure.
There's
for
no interest.
sure.
There's 27,000 residents in this town, and there's nobody going to city council and
That's
and
crazy.
having any.
I want to offer them a service.
So, but the other thing, I hear going around and talking to people is that they want to see two things, and one is I'm not from here, obviously. I've only been here just under a year. So, with that said, I don't know, but they say they want to see somebody that's not, part of the cliques and, the typical repeat type thing there. So, and with that said, the other thing is and closing kind of what you can call the generational gap. I mean, you look at there right now, we've got a mayor, it's pushing 80.
Damn.
Man.
Yeah, so we've got some people that have some out of touch views. I think is a good way to put it.
So you need to get in there and break it up, huh?
Well, I just if you look at the candidates, it's not even me. You look at the candidates. There's a lot of young candidates on this list, which is really good to see, in my opinion.
So you guys are gonna usher out the dinosaurs.
I mean, since we're talking about like Michigan politicians, I just want to bring it up. Have you seen the fucking video of the old chick on Marysville? Was it Marysville, Michigan? Where the chick is like
she wanted to make it more white.
Yeah,
keep
she
it
wants
white.
to keep it white. She wants to keep Marysville
That was in
white.
Michigan.
Yeah.
No. I
Yeah.
didn't see that.
No.
And she, I mean, I don't wanna
That's
say
her.
she-
That's her.
Oh, I want to
platform?
say she's
Well,
pushing like 80.
She did you see today? She sent a letter and she withdrew herself from,
She
from the
should've.
race.
Oh yeah, all right, yeah.
So she did. She's no longer. But,
I
but,
didn't
but like the
know-
mayor said, it's too late. So her name's still on the ballot. So
Oh, shit.
What if she gets elected because of that? That would be maybe you don't want to live in Marysville.
I mean,
did you see the interview with this lady? She said in an interview that that's not what she meant. She said it's about biracial marriage. That's what she was against. So if a black couple
No,
came in,
that's
it was
not what
okay.
she said.
But if it
though.
was a
I'm
white,
just talking about American born. She as soon as people started saying shit, it was like keep it white, keep it white.
Marysville, Michigan is 0.82% black.
right.
So she's talking to like 4 people.
And
Get these. Yeah. So it's like
That's crazy.
it's fine though. Like this is America. Okay. And I feel like it's best for that element to be in Marysville as opposed to throughout. If they have like a little place that they can go and be extra white or however she put it, like more power to you. Go. Make Marysville that. If that's what the people
I
want,
mean, I
right?
thought that's why they have gated communities now.
That's actually not a very bad perspective on it. Like, I mean, next to them dying, I mean, it's not a bad.
I mean, it's America, bro. Like,
Yeah.
If you're extra super white, move to Marysville.
yeah. Like, if you got a problem,
Motherfucking Miracle Whip white.
yeah, no, like, I think it's really horrible when you see racist people in, like, the urban area because, like, they can't escape it, Like, I think it's worse for them.
It's like
What?
it's like an issue, like
Hmm.
a phobe,
Yeah, we need to get,
a racophobe,
That's
a phobia.
they don't have an Africa to go back to, so now they have Marysville. It's,
Oh my god.
it's pretty cool, man. I'm just
go back to where you came
go
from.
back to Marysville.
like what? Where do I go?
Marysville, nigga. The fuck? You know what I'm talking about, dog. Marysville. I think it's fair. No? No, it's America. I thought that was...
that's fucking,
It's America.
That's
I'd vote
racist,
for
bro.
it.
Oh,
It's racist.
yeah. It might be. But, like, isn't America, aren't you free to like be racist, but like you can't discriminate, like you can't do nothing about it. But it's not illegal to be racist, is it?
No.
No,
No,
you
yeah,
have freedom
right.
of speech. She can
No,
say
no,
whatever
no,
she
for
wants,
sure.
but
Right,
freedom of
so
speech
it's a-
comes freedom of repercussions too from the people.
Exactly. You know, and like that's like an agitation that we just don't need.
Imagine just
On
saying,
either
saying
side.
the wrong thing and having your teeth knocked out.
Right. That's no way to live.
I mean, I wish.
Go to Marysville.
Run for city
Yeah.
council.
I'm just saying. It's cool. It's like a opt-in, opt-out thing. No?
Democracy.
Every state should have a Marysville.
Some states are Marysville.
Yeah. Yeah. True that. And I mean,
If you know what I mean.
it's like that for now. I mean, it's not always going to be like that.
No.
Melanin plays the waiting game. You know, whatever. If you want to be at Marysville, go to Marysville. Crickets. Where's my
All right,
Where's
back,
my crickets?
Back to weed, man. Back to weed.
Back to weed.
God damn, man.
Or depends who you
We
ask.
got.
You
we
brought
got-
it up.
We went out there.
You
man.
brought it up.
Fucking.
Well, that's that old thinking I'm talking about, you know.
No, yeah, for sure.
Right.
Is there that element in Allen Park?
Yes.
Because I
Well,
was gonna
let-
say, man, like, you know, I didn't know if I should lend
Oh,
my
yeah.
perception
Oh yeah.
of Allen Park as an outsider. I mean, I was gonna ask you that, but I
Swear,
thought
yeah.
it might be like too much to put that
Well,
responsibility
there's
on your shoulders.
There's
but
a little bit more of a percentage of the black community in Allen Park than what's in Marysville, but not much.
yeah,
No, I see. No, I see a couple black families on Park Ave.
Ooh,
I was like, what? Hell yeah.
the Allen Park Obamas.
Yeah, for
That's what's
sure.
up.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
no, I mean there's definitely some things that need to be, some eyes need to be opened in the community. There was just an incident within not was it about 3 weeks ago. A guy was going home from a bar, walking home, and got jumped and mugged, and called some profanities that weren't racial, but they thought that he was homosexual. He wasn't, but he was at the bar with a couple guys who were. So they beat him up and, called him a lot of
did
derogatory
this?
names. A group of people. It wasn't just one or two. So
Residents.
So
they
it-
don't know. It was the week of the
So the
street
guy-
fair, so it could have been some people from out of town. That's the
What if the people were like, oh yeah? What if the people thought that guy was like hitting on the couple or something? They were just defending their love for each other. No,
I'm
just
confused
joking.
here. I'm confused here.
It wasn't the gay people that got beat up.
Okay.
It was their straight friend.
Yeah.
But they were calling them
They called the straight guy
names. Yeah.
derogatory, homosexual.
Cocksucker.
I mean, straight guys say that to each other all the time. This is like they're making it
Just saying
situational.
one of the words they were probably saying. I'm saying the one that I'm allowed to say.
Which
all
ones
right.
are you not allowed to say?
The F word.
That makes you an F word. So anyways, man. Yeah.
How
So
about,
okay. So let me understand correctly. A group of
He wasn't
Miscreants.
smoking weed, was he?
a group of miscreants was roaming the streets of Allen Park.
I bet
came
you if
upon-
they were smoking weed, they would have been like, "Yeah, that's cool."
They
Keep
came-
doing
they came
you,
upon-
bro, and went and ate some pizza. But no, I bet you they were drunk and belligerent. Were they Allen Parkers?
We don't know. There's an investigation, but they didn't get him.
Was alcohol involved?
Well,
I'm sure.
Safe to assume.
Well, the guy that left the bar was probably drinking, but I don't know about the group of
Was
people
it
that.
pickup truck? I think there was a fucking pickup truck involved.
So this group of miscreants comes upon a trio.
I think they're
No,
from
no,
Marysville.
the gay couple stayed at the bar. Their friend left by himself.
Oh, okay.
So
He left a gay bar.
Yeah, I don't know if it was a gay bar. He was just with a gay couple.
How did they seen him leaving, or
I don't
why?
know.
I don't understand how the
I
game
don't know all the
plays into
details.
all of this.
I just heard the story from the one person who was left at the bar. You know, the friend.
Yeah.
He made a big post on it. You know, it's on one of the social media sites through Facebook, just explaining. You know, he was like, "I thought Allen Park was better than this," and said himself that actually he now, as a resident, almost wants to go back into the closet. Is what his exact quote was.
What?
Because a straight guy got beat up.
What?
That seems a little dramatic.
Oh, man.
Can't say I'm
Shit,
surprised.
This shit's blowing my fucking mind, man.
No, I mean,
It's the
I don't want to
mindset
get you. I don't want to get you in trouble, man. But
It's the mindset of some people.
so I understand how a straight guy getting beat up is an attack on homosexuality.
Because they were calling
Because of the names that they
them
were using.
homosexuals
Oh.
while doing
Assuming,
the
yeah.
beating up.
Oh, gotcha.
They were like yelling and beating at the same time.
Well, this is, you know, I mean, it's not. It's like, you know, when I went and announced the petitions, you know, we had 1,000 signatures, and when I announced that to the city council,
What if they were off-duty cops? That'd be so fucked up. Don't they got like some kind of like camera system in Allen Park?
like the facial recognition software, not to my knowledge.
But
Not to your knowledge.
there's video though.
Of
This beating.
no,
See, man, like Allen Park seems like a scary place,
no, it's really.
but it's not. But it's
It's not,
boring.
Oh
but
man,
it's-
it took me so long to fall asleep in Allen Park.
But it's like
Why?
Like moving from the hood.
my
Like,
perception.
There's nothing. There's like no noise whatsoever. Like I'm like, holy fuck.
Yeah, my perception of Allen Park. I've
Yeah.
had friends there in business and whatever going on. But like, I'm always worried. I always feel like the police are bored
Oh yeah.
and like, you know, jump the gun. Like clearly these cases that we've been discussing here, and I don't want to go at all.
well, a lot of
I
their
go reluctantly.
a lot of their current policies are real close-minded and old
Yeah.
thinking. You know, one of the first things that came to my attention when moving in there, you know, as somebody who's for years, you know, growing my own cannabis for myself, was their city ordinances regarding growing cannabis.
Oh, no home grow.
No, they allow home grow, but only for yourself. They don't allow you to caregive for anybody. They have the caregiving designated to an area that there's no available property, so there's virtually no caregiving. And
What are the requirements that make no property available?
Pretty sure they allow commercial,
Yeah.
regular commercial.
Regular?
To grow
Where?
your 72 as a caregiver in Allen Park. So they don't let you do it at your house. They make you go get a commercial
well, they
spot.
actually restrict how many square feet you can even use in your house to grow, even your 12 plants.
Yeah, I wasn't aware of that.
So yeah, if you read the whole,
What?
yeah, you
And
can-
who's coming
So
to
what's your
check this?
maximum? What's your maximum? Even if
200 square foot or 200 square foot, 20 by 20.
that's your limit
Yeah.
for your grow.
But all that is, it's above and beyond what the Michigan medical marijuana law says that you can and can't do. So it's more restrictive than the law. They're usurping their powers. Not only that, but it also and as far as their local one, I mean, I explained to them. You know, I said, you know, per the state law, if you're a minor, you know, you need to have 2 doctors certify you to have a card. And on top of having 2 doctors certify you, your caregiver has to be by law your parent or guardian. So basically, in essence, making it if you have a 15-year-old cancer or epileptic, child that needs oil, and you as a caregiver in a community that doesn't allow dispensaries have to, take care of your child, but they don't allow it. So, and then that's the other thing, looking into being knowledgeable about these things. There's already been several court cases from communities that have pushed these issues and restricted caregiving or parts of the law where the Supreme Court has decided or the appeals court has decided that no, you can't do that. So basically, we've got ourselves set up for a potential lawsuit in the future if they were ever to A, enforce it on somebody, or B, just have somebody take them to court preemptively saying, I'm a caregiver and I'm, according to your law, I can't do this, or your ordinance. And that goes right back to these litigations that we can't afford.
Boom. Oh, man.
Whoa. That seems deep, man. I didn't know that Allen Park was in such trouble. I hope they get the help they need.
Well, they've got a lot of good going for them, too, though.
For sure.
Oh, yeah. Dinosaur bucks.
What? Dinosaur what?
Dinosaur bucks.
Bugs?
Bucks. Money.
Oh, all right.
Dinosaur dollars. How about that?
All right. Gotcha.
Does that communicate better?
Yeah,
All right.
I guess. Sure.
Well, what does Allen Park have going for it?
They got a lot of development up on the hill, up where Home
Oh,
Depot and
the
Myers and all
hill.
that is.
Mm-hmm.
They've also, like I said earlier, they've got the DDA grants going on that are redeveloping some areas. Got the Martini Bar coming in, which will, granted, it's another liquor establishment.
I know.
It'll
man,
still bring
that's
in, people.
crazy.
It'll give them another option for something to do.
Allen Park has a very diverse portfolio.
Give
They
the
have-
cops something to do.
They have
Pull over
they have
people.
Ford land, which is pretty much all industrial. Ford owns all that real estate, so they have that, and then they have the Hill, so they have the retail. And then obviously they have a lot of homes, but cannabis is
Great schools.
Cannabis is
That's what they have
different
going
too.
for them,
Oh,
too.
yeah,
The schools
sure.
are great
Yeah.
here, absolutely.
The smaller cities are going to benefit the most from a cannabis business because they're going to get their piece of the tax money, and to a smaller community, it's just more money.
Yeah, it's going to hit harder, for sure.
Well, it's not even just that, though. One thing I want to do if I'm elected, even if I'm not elected, I'll keep going to the meetings and talking about this and bringing it up, is bringing awareness. When I brought up these petitions, like I was saying earlier, and the fact that I had in my hand at a council meeting, I held up 1,000 signatures and told them, this is what these are for and this is what we're doing. At the end of the council meeting, at the time, he was a mayor candidate, but he didn't win. Councilman DiGiulio spoke up and said that he didn't want this garbage, is what he referred to it as, in his community. And then he followed up that said, I don't believe that anybody wants this garbage in the community, completely disregarding the fact that we had 1,000 signatures from residents of Allen Park right there in our hand.
Man, you know what? Maybe I think he was smoking swag way back in the day.
Yeah, he didn't want
So he-
boof. You
I
got to
swear
Well,
to God.
but he followed it up with that this has always been a very clean community and he wants to keep it that way.
Clean?
It wasn't just a few weeks later we had a heroin overdose. We've had, the opiate epidemic that's in
All
America.
kinds of
Allen Park is
ODs
not
from
immune of it.
pills.
Oh, no.
Not
it,
even.
It goes down in Allen Park after dark,
So,
for sure.
so with that said, you look at the statistics.
On
They're
Southfield.
in places that allow accessible cannabis.
I want to know
The overdoses and the opiate usage goes down.
the actual amount of bars in Allen Park.
Bars,
Yeah,
just
alcohol. Like
not
you-
restaurants that serve,
Nope.
but just bars.
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 When I did a count earlier,
Well, some of those bars serve food, but
right.
The bars.
they're called bars.
Like he's got a number
like-
for you. He's counted before.
The bars.
Yeah.
Oh, he know.
The reason we in our petition did the number 6, 3 micro businesses and 3 provisioning centers, was 2 reasons. One, to have both options. One for obviously the big people and one for the mom and pop type opportunity. 2, looking at the fact that it is a very tight knit with the homes. You know, they're close together. It's what they call, you know, like a bedroom community with great schools, a lot of parks. Obviously, churches. Cabrini is really big as well. So we didn't, you know, this isn't a community that you're going to be able to put a bunch of big commercial grows or anything. We just did 6, but the thing was, is we came to that number at the fact that that's half the amount of number of bars in that town. So if they're okay with a dozen bars, why can't they be okay with a half dozen retail shops? And that's not even including the amount of liquor stores as well, you know.
Oh yeah, definitely. There's plenty of liquor stores.
And this is really no different, you know. At the time of writing the petition, it was just retail shops. Now there is the option to have a social lounge. You know, you can get a lounge license, so it is a little bit more like a coffee shop or bar setting as far as, you know, being able to use.
I've always been for that.
Me as well, you know.
Well, do you have like a demographic of what number of Allen Park residents are card holders?
Not of Allen
I mean,
Park.
really, you're not supposed to be
The
able to
closest you
look
can
that
get
up,
is, well,
right?
you can look up how many a county has issued, how many patient and caregiver cards have been issued by the county. You can actually, you can't break it down any further though. You know, city,
Just the
township,
county,
local
though.
municipality,
Yeah.
just the county. So I mean, we can go by how many Wayne has, but there's no way
Doesn't
of telling
Monroe
how
have
many.
the most?
Yeah.
Monroe County.
They have the most, but the most per capita actually was Mount Morenci, which is like this hole in the wall county of trees way up
Flint,
north.
Isn't it Flint area?
No, it's next to Otsego actually,
Huh.
between Otsego and Roger City.
Dun dun dun.
But I mean, with Allen Park, though, I mean, just to give you an example of how supportive they seem to be, it took us 10 days to get 1,000 signatures, so it's basically like 100 a day.
Oh yeah.
You know, and there was only like 4 people out there grabbing these cigs.
And
you
those
know.
were actual Allen Parkers.
Yeah, they had to be. You know, we had 996 is what
Can
we
you just like
finished
put
up.
these things anywhere or what?
What do you mean?
The businesses?
Absolutely not. For one, they're not allowed in residential neighborhoods, so you're not going to be in your neighborhood. For two,
Oh, I was gonna put one in my parents' garage, man.
well, for two, the local zoning board gets to set the parameters of where they get to be, which will be somewhere in a commercial industrial
What?
Southfield.
zoning.
Ford's gonna be your landlord.
That's wild. So what? We gotta go up on the hill.
No, I don't. It's not going to be up to me. It's up to the zoning. You know, that's not. Even if I win, I'm not. That's city council. I'm not on zoning, so it's out of my hands.
I mean, but you kind of don't want your residents to have to go. Like, what are the alternatives for
Imagine-
dispensary or
Imagine a
provisioning
dispensary
centers?
on Park Avenue.
Well,
right downtown.
You mean if they don't allow
right
them?
next to
Well,
the shoe repair place,
Currently.
Right where they were.
the old shoe.
Currently, the
repair
only
place.
option is to really, you know, go to Rouge, River
McNally's,
Rouge,
Park
go down to
Avenue,
8
yeah,
Mile,
yeah.
My buddy's dad owns
right
that.
in
or the black
between
market. Really, you know,
there
there's always
and
that
the,
option, which is
the bike place.
one of my big points
That's a
too on
perfect
this is that
spot.
if you are a no vote on opt-in to allow these regulated businesses, you're basically a yes vote on the black market because marijuana's been in Allen Park at least since 2008 that we know of. Okay,
Oh,
I mean, it's
way-
been there way before that.
Yeah.
But we know people have been growing on a massive scale.
I seen it
Mhm.
before I lived there. I seen it there.
I grew a plant in Allen Park back when I was in like I think my freshman year. One plant behind my mom's garage.
See?
It was like 04 or something.
Yeah,
Like that.
so if they think it's not there and they're trying to keep it out, I mean, they're just not being honest with themselves.
Right.
I mean, if it's
They're
there,
not
why
being
shouldn't?
honest.
And that's the other thing, you know, when I went around, you know, interesting story here too with our petitions. Our city clerk, Mike Mizzi, called me like 4 days prior to the deadline for him to turn this into the state to have him print the ballot, and said that one of our petitioners who was from out of state visiting Michigan and was helping us out, there's a line that you gotta fill out and say, you know, I'm from out of state and I'm from this county, so they can verify that you're a registered voter. But there's also a checkbox. She filled everything out, but she forgot to hit the check. This is like 40 pages, so we lost like 400 plus signatures, right? So he says, you don't have enough. And I'm like, oh my gosh, but I'm like, I know I got like these 3-4 days. And I'm like, how many do I need? He's like, honestly, probably like 40. So I went out and literally Thursday night, about 5 o'clock to 9 o'clock, and Friday the next day from like noon till probably 3, turned in some signatures, and I didn't have enough. In my opinion, I left. I just wanted to drop some off to them and not, drop everything last minute Monday. And I left. And I got 3 more signatures when I got the phone call from them and said that, stop everything you're doing. You have enough. So, but when I went back out, my initial strategy was to take the people from the pages that were disqualified and go straight to their house, but none of them were home. So that changed to hitting random doors and making sure that they didn't already sign this, for one, because it wouldn't count, and for 2, explaining what's going on. And I had, just as a couple examples, one guy looked right at me and goes, "Man, I don't smoke the stuff, and I really can't stand it." He goes, "But it ain't my business to tell you what you should or shouldn't be doing." And he's like, "Everybody's doing this. We might as well get some tax money off of it."
Boom.
See, that's how I feel about Marysville, man. Do that shit.
And then I had an elderly lady, a senior, that said she hates the smell of it, can't stand it. But
Was
because
that
of the
my mom?
smell, she knows it's here, and she signed it and said, bring the taxes in. So
I think he doesn't want to mention any names, but that was my mom.
no, that wasn't your mom. She signed it though. She was there. She was very supportive of what everything. Your mom was actually very informative about a lot of things. As far as Allen Park, she was one of the longest conversations I had when I was going for my council signatures.
What do you think her outlook is on cannabis? Do you know?
I mean, I can't speak for anybody. She was.
You didn't discuss cannabis with her?
Oh, absolutely, I did, and she signed my council candidacy. So that's all I'm gonna say there. Everybody, make your own opinion, I guess.
So I guess it would be safe to infer that she was pro cannabis
Or pro tax revenue for the community.
Yeah.
Okay.
I hear that more than anything, honestly, from the people that aren't users, or I heard that, or I heard the people that said they use it for medical purposes and it's amazing and it worked wonders for them, and they want to see it available regardless of if it's rec or medical. They just wanted access. A lot of people that said they don't want to send grandma to 8 Mile.
For sure.
I do know a lot of older people that start asking me, like, when can I start getting this, or blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, I start explaining it, and they say, I don't care. Just let me know when I can get it. They don't, most of these older folks, they don't care how it works or how it happens. They just want it,
Well, that's what a lot of people don't understand either, is that, the largest demographic of people that are starting their use of cannabis now is senior citizens.
No,
For
now
sure.
that they don't give a fuck. They don't gotta deal with the job 9 to 5. You know what I'm saying? They don't gotta fucking random piss test.
No, and a
You know
lot
what
of
I'm saying?
people.
That's a big thing, man.
And they don't have to worry about going to jail.
But I mean,
Yeah, a lot of older people, they've
See,
had
it's so
experience.
fucked up. Like a lot of the older people that are using it are like, I think a lot of them will get turned away for like fucking surgeries and all that shit.
Yeah, no, that is a danger.
Yeah.
That is definitely a danger, but at the same time, like, what makes them, I feel, more open is that they've had experiences in their youth and stuff where they used cannabis and they know that it was like harmless.
Did you guys ever see the fucking video where the guy, he's like, I don't know, he's probably late 50s, early 60s. He's trying to smoke weed for the first fucking time. He has like a regular bowl. And he's like trying to smoke it like
Like a
meth.
meth, yeah.
I'm like,
I
oh
seen
my
that.
fucking
I
god.
seen that.
Yeah, he had no idea.
Nah. And
The
then
cameraman
he actually
couldn't
hit
help
it
him
for the
out.
first time. With, oh, whoa. I love that video.
Yeah.
I bet you that guy's from Marysville.
Whoa. A nearby town. An undisclosed town. But, I don't know, man. You're going to have to break through, man. Have you smoked joints with any of the citizens?
Yeah, that was the coolest thing.
Yeah, right.
I swear, I'll
man.
tell you what.
Ah, man,
I'm
I want
again.
the
I'm,
Allen Park
I gotta tell you,
fucking
I'm
weed
gonna
fest
keep
going
people's
on.
names anonymous here, but
Ah.
one of these local Allen Parkers said, you know what? He's like, he signed my petition. He says, how many more you
You want
need?
to come in?
He says, no, but he said he's
We're
gonna get
having
in
a
my
sesh
truck.
right
I know
now,
a few
bro.
people that'll sign.
Get like 10 more signatures.
And I figured he was gonna bring me to some buddies our age. He brought me to his neighbor's house, and his neighbor invited me in. So it was like a domino effect,
Damn,
man.
that's
I mean,
what's up, man.
He got high all day long in Allen Park.
and it
How
wasn't
cool
even
would
on
that
my
be
own
just to
supply.
Open up your living room windows and just pass the joint if you're close enough. That'd be cool.
Yeah, so there's definitely a cannabis
Hey,
community.
man, next time you go around Allen Park, man, I just want to hang out. I just want to smoke with these people.
You need to meet,
So many
meet your
people
neighbors.
in Allen
man.
Park. Like, see, they smell me.
And the unique thing,
They
this
smell
isn't the
me
first
down
time.
the block. They're
I've done these
"Ah."
petitions in other towns, and helped other communities out and stuff with opt-ins in our own language. I mean, like I said, I wrote the charter in Gaylord or assisted with writing it. But with that said, Allen Park's so different because it's not a community like up north. You can really get a feel just walking up to a house, if they're going to support marijuana or not. But you walk around Allen Park and you have no idea because they're all very nice homes. Yards are well kept. Nice cars in the driveway. People they're doing well in Allen Park. A lot of successful people and stuff. And you can't quote unquote judge a book by the cover. There's a lot of surprises on the doors here.
For sure. No.
Man.
I remember the first time. Like, straight up, I couldn't fall asleep in Allen Park because it was so fucking quiet, bro. I had to listen to the radio. Because in the hood, Roach, how much noise? I swear to
noise?
God, where I was living, I could hear the freeway. I could hear the tugboats and fucking, freighters going
Oh, yeah, you
down
had
Rouge.
trains and all kind of shit.
Yeah, trains, fucking police cars, all that shit.
Semis,
I
fire,
I'd hear an
EMS.
ambulance going down the street in Allen Park. I'd be like, oh, it reminds me of the hood.
I lived in Flint for a short time, and yeah, it was 4th of July. I never heard so many gunshots in my life.
They were
you could hear 'em.
fireworks.
Well, let me ask you, where have you lived besides Allen Park and Gaylord and
Sheboygan.
Sheboygan, yeah.
Sheboygan, I was born and raised. Like I said, 0 to 18.
Okay.
Shortly after that, I moved to Gaylord. Had a job at ABC Warehouse for about 10 and a half
Gaylord.
years.
How is it spelled?
Just like it sounds.
Gaylord.
Yep.
But you said
Was
Gaylord.
yeah.
Because he's from there.
Yeah.
That's
they
how
got-
they
It's
say
my
it from
northern
there. They
Michigan
say-
accent.
That's
Gaylord.
how people from
They get around it.
Gaylord say it.
The Gaylord.
The Gaylord.
But
What do you call somebody from Gaylord? Gaylorder?
No, I can't remember who else came on the show.
I've never heard that one before, bro.
A Gayloridian?
Yeah, what are people from Gaylord called? That is a good question.
I know. I'm from
Come on, man,
Detroit.
you've
I
been-
call
you've
myself
been-
a Detroit.
Gaylordian.
What?
Nobody's ever said
You-
that though.
A
Until I came down here.
Gaylordian.
That's what
Come
I
on,
said.
man, you gotta
right?
Google it.
Gaylordian.
You
that's
gotta
what-
Google it, bro. You've been on the
Right.
wiki all day.
See, it's a lot. There's a lot of different things that
Gaylord.
we don't call ourselves
So
anything.
you've
It's like
been a Gaylordian.
I'll never forget when I was talking to this guy. One time when I said, yeah, my mom asked me if I was heading down below, and he says, well, where?
Down below.
Yeah, see, because you guys say up north. We're going
They
up
called
north.
they called us trolls because we're under the bridge.
What?
No, I'm a troll because I've always been under the bridge too, though. That's what the Yoopers call us.
I didn't know it was that deep.
I didn't either. I've been all the way down here chilling.
Yeah.
Down below.
I just went up to the lake a couple times.
Not much on the Wikipedia as far as what they're called. It's kind of just like
Calling the
origin and other.
I'm
Well, it'll
calling the
probably
man.
talk
Did
about
you
how we're
look up-
the
Did you look up person from
Alpin. We're the
Gaylord?
Alpin Village, you know, because
That's
we're
not gonna ping nothing.
We're the-
That's gonna bring up the white pages or something.
Saying.
we're a sister city from Switzerland.
Yeah, it's nothing good.
Look up Gaylordian.
It's the meaning joyful or high spirited in the old French terms.
Well, man, you know, there's Gaylord, and then you move to Allen Park.
Sheboygan. What, you were a Sheboygan? What do you call it? Somebody from
Sheboyganese.
Sheboygan. A person from Sheboygan. Besides a person from Sheboygan.
A Shebogonian. Shebogonian.
I mean,
So you were born
Boing.
a Sheboygan. A Sheboygan.
I live in Taylor, so what's that? A Taylorite?
Taylor Tuckian.
Taylor Tuckian.
Taylor Tuckian, yeah.
Taylor Tuckian. I like that.
That's pretty much what how it goes, yeah.
a lot of people up there you always referred to Sheboygan as Vegas.
Vegas?
Yeah, I don't know. I never understood why either because there's nothing to do there.
Do you have a casino?
No.
Then what the fuck?
Yeah.
Hey, man, do you guys have any glass that you use when you smoke?
Glass
Yeah.
myself?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not anymore. When those raids happened to me, they got joy out of breaking everything I had.
Mm.
I got some sick glass pieces.
Yeah.
Do
By
you?
who?
They're all from my buddy. He lives in New Zealand. His name's Gene.
What?
So he used to go by NZK glass, but now he goes by baklava glass
Baklava.
on Instagram. Yeah, he's pretty sick. I got a few things
I
by
love
him.
baklava.
Well, I mean, let me offer you guys these rare collectible Medical
Yeah.
Monday
I mean,
pretty
you can
pouches.
put other
Nice.
things besides glass in there.
Yeah.
Right. I got a mini rig too though. to set
See?
everything perfect.
Boom.
Right. So, like, the next time they want to smash your shit, they're not going to be
Yeah,
able to.
they're gonna be
So
like,
let's
"Oh,
hope
what's
it's not
this?"
the next
Ah,
time.
They're gonna throw
and then it won't break.
That would be an
Thank
awesome
you.
commercial.
Appreciate it. That's dope.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a little miniature person pillow.
Oh yeah, for
Thank
sure.
Reminds me of like a little sleeping bag for like
Shout
a
out
little
to
miniature
Ganja Granny.
person.
Yeah. No, you throw a little glass piece in there to keep it nice and safe. Nice little
Absolutely.
storage spot for travel too. Keep it low key. Courtesy
Whoa.
of Medical Mondays
Thank you.
and Pretty Pouches.
Yeah,
Boom.
we don't got shirts here, guys. The
I like that.
sizes. We
Just gotta
need to
get a
get some more
sticker.
shirts.
Cool sticker.
ASAP Roach.
Shout out to
Purge Clothing
shout out to Purge Clothing.
for printing these dope ass shirts.
Yeah.
I think one of the reasons why we don't have that many shirts is because we both got 2 each.
I didn't get to.
I did.
Can we
I'm
shout out
sorry.
our
Son of a bitch.
new business we got opening up?
You have a new business opening up.
Yeah.
What? Where?
What the
Yeah.
fuck?
Doing
Westland.
shirts?
So it's in
Doing it.
Westland.
Is it
It's-
doing
it's-
shirts?
It could.
We can get shirts. We got
Yeah.
access to shirts.
Yeah,
What,
we have
in
a buddy who does
Westland?
Printing. Yeah.
My
so
boys lives
yeah,
in
so
Westland.
it's a Westland. It's called Smokers Alley.
Wait a minute.
Westland. It's
Are you
not-
guys gonna?
Our main focus is CBD products and hemp products.
Oh, okay.
So
Go ahead. Then.
yeah.
Carry on.
No type of extraction equipment or anything like that. So
Oh,
it's gonna
okay.
be nice. It's at 380 South Vinoy in Westland, Michigan. It'll be
Boom.
open in a few weeks, so
Yep. CBD.
It's on-
Lot of
it's
CBD
on all
products.
social
and
media. Check it out.
It's all strictly CBD stuff. No THC.
No
or low
THC.
THC.
low
It's state
You said Vinoy?
state pass.
Vinoy and what?
Cherry,
Cherry
Hill.
Hill.
No way.
Cherry Hill.
Yeah.
That's right by my boy's house.
Yeah.
Right
It's
there.
gonna be real nice in the plaza. It's a vape shop as well. We got a huge lineup of e-juice and Nick salts. But then again, a huge lineup of CBD products coming in as well. Everything from CBD vapes to CBD, topicals, CBD tinctures, CBD dog treats, even things for dogs' paws. Old chapping dog shampoos, all kinds of stuff.
Boom.
a lot of bath and body things. We got Kush Queens coming into our shop, which is there's a huge different variety of bath bombs, topicals, things like that.
The Kush Queens. Never heard of them.
They're from California.
Oh. Cool.
Boom.
We need more. We need more local brands. So
Oh yeah, for sure.
hopefully some people are listening.
I mean,
Yep, we're gonna be having. We got Kaz, of course. Cosmic
Yeah,
Gardens
for
is gonna be
sure.
coming in, of course, with
Oh,
all
yeah.
of his
I think
lineup.
we
You know,
a
his
couple
Ellas.
people.
Yeah, we know.
Send them our way. You know, we're looking to support as many, good Michigan-based companies as long as they're doing pure CBD products. I know I was just talking to Justin James and Crown Caps. We'll have those.
Boom.
I was talking to Midnight Roots as well. We were talking about him earlier. He's going to be supplying us with some CBD-infused Magar shells. As well as some of his CBD products from his pet lineups and his tinctures.
Oh. Well. Who's going to decide who gets the bids for these said 6 businesses in Allen Park?
Well, right in the language, it's stated that if there is a lot of interest, which as we all sitting at this table know that I'm sure there will be a lot of interest, that it would be put to a competitive application process where there would be, for an example, like a point system could be developed by the councils to where, people that, for instance, are residents of Allen Park could get points versus people that are not residents of Allen Park would not get points. Things like, donating to charities, charitable causes could give you points. Things that are going to encourage the council to think that these people are going to be a good fit, doing the right things for the community as well, and be good examples, obviously, to set for this. Because, as an example, myself obviously would not be applying for anything because as an elected official, you can't have one of these licenses. But when I was a dispensary owner, one of the things I did is a couple kids came in asking for a donation for an Easter egg hunt. And I said, well, how much are you looking to get here? And they said, well, we're trying to get $2,000. I said, well, how much do you have? They had like $300. We went to the till, checked, seen what we had, went to the safe, seen what we had, and we gave them $1,700, which set them to their goal already, which is amazing for these kids. But again, it was cannabis, so the people hosting the Easter egg hunt, which was the local sportsplex for the county, which was county funded, turned them. They said they had to give the money back to the dispensary, and then these girls said it's $1,700. If we do this, we can't have the Easter egg hunt. And they said, okay, well, we'll have a vote. So the board had a vote, and they unanimously voted against taking the money, made these girls come give it back to us.
Wow.
At which point, I told these girls that I
know
wasn't.
there was a vote. That's
Where was
crazy.
this
Oh, yeah.
at?
Otsego, Gaylord. So with that said, I said to the girls that I'm not taking the money back. I said, you go tell them that we're going to do our own Easter egg hunt. We don't need their property. And when they did that, they were instructed by the county people that they needed to go tell the business owners that gave them the other $300 that they were working with somebody that was selling drugs. So they did that, and I went with them and explained this to them, and these business owners all didn't take the money either. They actually doubled their donation. So at that point in time, we doubled our donation. So these girls went from $2,000 to actually having over $4,000. And then we did golden tickets in each age groups, a couple of them in each age group, and had Power Wheels and 10 speeds and pedal bikes, and it was amazing. It really was. I had a couple different kids that actually shed tears. One was autistic. He just freaked out. He was so happy because he got a ticket and he didn't know what was going on, and he realized he won a bike. Another girl, young girl, it was her first ever bike that she got brand new because she always got her sister's hand-me-downs. So seeing cool things like that, these things, these businesses, if they're not full, just profiteering, if they're actually caring about the community as well, you could actually get a feel for that through these applications by looking at their history and their track records. So, but that's how it would be done. It would, I can't say per se, because I mean there would be a talk about to the council. There would be obviously they would refer to the city attorney on things like that as well to come up with the actual application itself for the points and scoring systems.
I also think you guys need a special expert consultant, myself, to be hired to make sure that it's not boof. This is Allen fucking Park. You know, there's a certain fucking standard. We need to maintain that throughout. I can help you guys.
Yeah, those micro businesses sound good though. Hopefully, I mean,
Don't change the subject.
that'll bring good weed to Allen Park. Hopefully, right?
Micro businesses?
Yeah.
No.
I mean,
I tell you right now, I can name 3 little guys and 3 big guys that'll come and ruin that shit. Am I lying, Berg?
they should get, they should get one of those.
Can we name names or
They should get one
Green
of those.
Peak?
Yeah, there's one.
There's one right there ruining it.
For sure.
Yeah. It's good to. A boy's got to have a dream. Good weed.
Are you trying to
Not
bring
good-
boof to Allen Park?
No, I can't.
Dun
Not
dun
even
dun.
possible for me.
Okay.
I wish it was.
To bring boof to Allen Park?
No, I wish it was possible. for me.
He
I
wants to
bring
get
good
paid.
weed. I want to bring good weed.
All right, man. See, that's
I
what I'm
just smoke- I
saying.
just
Like, too
smoke-
many
I
people
just smoke good weed all day. That's
are
all I
trying
do.
to hit these numbers on these tests, and they're removing the human element from growing this product that's, in fact, medicine. It's not like a commercial product. It's medicine. It needs to be cultivated.
Absolutely.
Where were you born?
Sheboygan.
Sheboyganite. That's what you call it.
Sheboygan.
I bet you it's Sheboyganite.
Like a Taylorite.
Shaboy,
I'm sorry.
Shaboy.
Sheboyganite.
Yeah,
I think
don't
it's
like that.
Gaylordian, man. I think that's.
I
what
agree with
call
you
it.
though.
Maybe it's
100%,
Gaylordish.
You know? I
It
mean,
sounds the best.
in all the time I've been in this industry, you know, I mean, I
leave the Gaylord shit out of here.
didn't grow my own until
I thought that's what he was
2010,
agreeing with. Damn it.
but I've been around a lot of different people. Everything from, you know, the ones where you walk in and you see spider webs because there's so many mites, and it's just like, what in the
disgusting.
hell do you got going on? And they're like, oh well, you know, it's nature, it's what happens. They just don't even know how bad they're doing.
I talked to a
And-
processor the other day, and he said he's passed 40 out of 500 tests.
Wow.
From just hundreds of different people too.
And then I've seen other things, you know, where
So
you know,
90% of metric is full of concentrates. It's all just mold weed they blast to get rid of the mold.
you know, I've heard, I can, you know,
Pretty
I'm
much.
not going to name anybody
Yeah.
because I can't confirm it, but I've heard through the grapevine that there's, you know, a couple of these big licensed multi-million-dollar people that have yet to pass on their harvest. So,
Yeah.
what does that tell you?
Mold yeast test. It's not even.
That's
the pe- it's not even.
crazy.
It's not even the pesticides. It's the mold and the yeast. And it all gets turned into oil.
But with that said, you know, I've been in some other, like we were talking earlier, micro, you know, not saying necessarily these people would even be going for it, but on a much smaller scale, you know, caregiver grows, which would be more
Yeah.
comparable to what they are doing on a micro level
I
license.
mean, that's what DJ
And-
Short was talking about.
The amount of control that they have on, you know, just that individual one-on-one with so many plants rather than having a bunch of different people and shifts and this and, you know, things like that. You know, it's, speaking of Midnight Roots earlier, you know, I mean, the amount of care and just meticulous he is with his stuff as well. You know, I've been around his stuff a few times, and it's impressive in the level of just cleanliness and everything that some people will put into it versus other people that are just
He's a
downright sloppy.
He's a beekeeper too. That's
I mean,
insane.
there's so many
Wow.
people
He's on,
out
I mean,
there.
a lot of things.
There's so many people out there just out there to get money, man. They don't give a fuck.
Nope. Growing some swag and buying some packages on eBay.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Instagram, all that shit.
Well, yeah. I mean, who else is gonna guarantee that Allen Park doesn't get overrun by booth?
Well, that's one of the things I would hope by being an elected official myself, by being a member of this industry for the last many years. I know a lot of these names that will come across the board. But at the same token, I can't be necessarily, I got to be impartial and go off the paper. But at the same token, I mean,
I
there's.
think Allen Park needs a marijuana board after it gets voted in.
Yeah, but see, I don't know. I feel like you might have a conflict of interest because you are a part of the industry, like you
Oh,
said.
Yeah, but I'm really not anymore, other than just a victim of pre-industry.
Hmm.
free
I mean,
industry.
because of that, I can't be a part of a medical facility even as an employee for
Is
10
that like a new
years.
black
Yeah, that's
market term?
crazy.
Is pre-industry like a new black market term? I've never heard that before.
Well,
I've
but
never
I wasn't
heard it
really
that
black
way,
market
right?
either,
Right.
I mean, I had I didn't sell marijuana until I put an open sign on a building and thought that was okay to do.
Yeah,
So I don't really ever consider myself a black market person.
touche.
So with that said, I
'Cause what were you charged with exactly?
well, it was delivery and manufacture of marijuana, and the accessory charge that always comes along with that of maintaining a drug house.
Mm.
I also, I got in trouble when I was younger
That's
at
hard.
18, 19 years old for breaking and entering. So, with the previous felony, I had the habitual offender
You?
status. Yeah.
No, you were pulling kickdowns, man?
I was what?
Pulling a kickdown?
No, yeah. I mean, there was nobody there. It was a business. It wasn't a home invasion. It's you
Was
want to
there
talk about a
alcohol
twist?
involved?
Absolutely not. But it was drug related. I broke into an animal hospital. A depressed, distraught and lost 18-year-old, and stole Special K. I was actually the first person in the state of Michigan that was ever caught with ketamine. And with that said, it's the ironic twist to this now is that here we're in a day and age now that they're learning and they're having trials and they're using ketamine for people with depression and things and
yeah,
PTSD.
shrooms.
Mhm.
And the person that I actually, because I tried it, and luckily I'm here because I didn't know, I knew how to convert it from a liquid and everything like that, but I didn't know how much to do, and I did a little much and said I'm good on this. I never wanted to do it again. So with that said, I learned my
You were in
lesson.
the hole.
Deep.
Mhm.
I gave this all to one person, and I had multiple vials, and I said, "Here, I don't want this." And he is the owner to this day of the ketamine clinic in Royal Oak. So
What's the ketamine clinic?
there's for people that have PTSD, severe, depression, suicidal thoughts, things like that, manic depression. They
Royal
go
Oak?
there and they have micro ketamine injections, under a regulated, complete, supervised environment with doctors and nurses.
What? I mean,
You know what? Fuck smoking weed.
I'm
wow.
out.
Whoa. No, I just saw in Mexico, a court in Mexico made it legal for two undisclosed people to use cocaine
I saw that.
Yeah,
as well. I saw that
recreational.
as well. It's got to be
Mexico-
confirmed by a
Mexico.
second court, but it's on its
Mexico.
way. Yeah.
That's crazy. Not even medically, recreationally.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
I'm I mean, but you look at Portugal and they've had amazing results with the decriminalization of all drugs. Use has gone down, addiction rates have gone down, overdoses have gone down, everything goes down. Because they're treating that as a health epidemic, which really was what
And
heavy
the
drug
U.S.
addiction
can't
should be.
even legalize weed
No, and when we do, we still send people to federal prison.
or hemp. Hemp alone.
Well,
Or
I
is
just
it
saw today that the FDA
nationwide? Nationwide?
FDA actually had a memo come out saying that hemp is now legal, per the Farm Bill and everything else. It
Yeah.
actually came out today.
Wow.
And it happened last year, but the DEA and all them and the FDA didn't acknowledge it on their memos
Yeah, of
until today.
course.
Until today.
Oh, until today.
Pushed it to the bottom of the pile.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Convenient.
it's a small step, but it's a step.
The DEA is also going to open the number of applications they're going to look at for people to grow medical cannabis For research. Yeah.
But it's only for research.
Who does
Well,
it?
and I saw
University of
another
Washington.
thing-
It seems like
Can
double
I
talk.
be
And
the
I saw another
research?
one that's
Can I
going to
just-
allow a select group, just a select few Army personnel, to experiment and be allowed to use recreational marijuana.
If they're re-enlisting, they
I
have to have
gotta
a
hit up
certain
my
ASVAB
cousin.
score. So there's certain requirements, but it's very
Yeah.
strange.
Yeah. So I mean,
It's
they're,
if you're re-enlisting, you can if you hit a certain ASVAB score. Like there's a certain requirements, but it's pretty crazy.
Did I
On
wonder if
army.com.
everybody out there knew, like, if you're too smart, you can't become a cop. Did you know that?
yes,
I've heard
It's
that.
a decision out of the Supreme Court in Connecticut.
Oh, it's a real thing. I
Oh,
thought it was
yeah.
always like a kind of like a said but
No.
never proven type thing.
What happened was a guy that was denied a job sued because of that reason, and the Supreme Court in Connecticut sided with the police department and said that they had every right to do so. The theory behind that is that if they
So
have
it was that
They're
specific.
too
It was
smart.
that specific police department.
Yeah, I mean,
that it was about.
there was a lawsuit. Yeah, it's not like a federal across the board thing, but there is one case that people can reference on the internet and talk about
Yeah.
how it's out there. Just like the Supreme Court case that said that it's law enforcement's job these days to enforce law, not to protect and serve.
No.
So
Yep.
we're
Law enforcement.
we're losing our way. That's one thing I see there with law enforcement all the time. When I was a child, man, they were my crossing guard when I was a kid in
Bro.
elementary school.
Hey, when I lived on the west side, I grew up
In
it-
Sheboygan, it'd be like that.
It was in
Yeah.
it was in Detroit. It
Well, in
was where all
Sheboygan,
the
it's not like
cops-
that anymore either, though.
No?
They got the largest jail in all of northern Michigan. They've put on 3 different $1 million+ additions and expansions onto this thing, and it's like they can't even house people there because they don't have enough crime. So what they do is they house people from Oakland County and all over the state that are basically not safe to be in the jails that they're supposed to be held at. So they bring up a lot of the snitches and stuff like that and stick them up there, and then they let them go. And I mean, they set them on a bus and send them back home when they get out.
Mm.
Damn.
It's a people for profit.
It gets
up there.
violent?
Not really, because these guys are all, they're kept in maximum security up there because they're from downstate. Or they're just, quiet people that are doing their time.
Mm.
I wouldn't say it violent, but it's a large jail. I mean, it's a small town, it'd be a couple thousand people, and they got a jail that houses over 200 people. It's crazy.
For sure.
I was in
Oh,
Otsego
shit.
County Jail, and there was only bunks for, I believe, 26, and it's 40 miles away.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, how did other prisoners react to you for those 15 days that you were in?
Oh, they all thought I was a hero in there, but I mean, the funny thing wasn't the way they acted; it was the way the guards acted. The
Yeah.
guards came in shocked that I took the plea and told me I shouldn't have been in there. One came in the week before I got out and said, "Hey, next week I got a gig," because he was in the band, wanted me to go watch his show. They would come in, anything I wanted, they would take care of me. Like I was March Madness when I was in there, so when TV's out at 11, I was like, "Don't you dare turn off the Michigan game, on us." And they're like, "Oh, no problem, man, Chad. We'll leave it on as long as you want." They all thought it was absurd and ridiculous that they were wasting the money on us like they were, and that I was in there.
And this was Gaylord?
Yeah. And the police said the same thing. The local cops told me that they didn't even know why they were doing what they were doing. They said that they were just doing their thing. The chief called them in, and the state police were there, said that they needed them for backup, and they just kind of stood there and watched the state guys do their thing.
Wow.
Mm. It's most unfortunate.
Well, shit, man. I think it's about that time, Roach.
Man, it's been about that time, but we're talking, man.
All right, yeah.
And
Talking about the Gaylordians.
you are, for sure. You are, for sure.
What? I think that's what they're called. I thought he agreed with me, but he was talking about agreeing about a whole different subject.
He doesn't care. He said they don't call each other anything.
Why not?
What are people from Allen Park called?
Alan Parkers.
That's They got a social media group called the Allen Parker for all the Allen Parkers.
For all of them.
Damn.
All the Allen Parkers.
APers.
APers.
All right, man. Do you want to give a shout out to our fucking sponsors, man? Or you just want to end the show? You're done. You're high. The show's over.
What? You're saying you're talking, man. I don't want to interrupt.
I'm done, man.
I'm
Are you
confused.
done?
I'm done. Shout out the sponsors, man.
I want to give a shout out to our guest first. Can I do it? Can I say thank you,
Thank you for having me.
Chad Morrow?
You should have done that last, and then we can shout out their Instagram and all that shit.
Oh yeah, what's your Instagram?
Facebook, all that good shit.
We got Chad Morrow's Facebook page. There's a Chad Morrow for Allen Park City Council page. There's a safer committee for a safer Allen Park page, which is the organization that is doing the petition. Safer standing for safe alternative form of enjoyable recreation. There's also the Smokers Alley pages as well, and both of those are on Facebook and Instagram both.
Boom. You want to shout out your IG? He's like,
I'm
no, I'm
Trev,
good.
bro. Some people watching probably know me.
All right, but
Yeah.
You already said what his shit was.
I know, but we were on the air when you said it.
What, we weren't?
I
No.
don't think so.
No.
No.
You're not gonna say it?
No.
No.
Oh, okay.
It's cool,
Whatever,
man.
man.
I got enough friends.
He's famous enough.
No, I just like to come hang out with you guys and get high.
All right, man. We appreciate you coming
fire.
out, regardless.
But I don't want to give a shout out to all of our sponsors.
You're gonna look at the cheat sheet?
Yeah, I got a
Niggas,
cheat sheet 'cause I'm high
what?
as shit.
What?
I'm still missing one on my phone. I don't got the updated on my own phone.
Man, this week to mix it up, you should start with label my motherfucking butt.
Label my motherfucking bud. Should I say
What
our
about 'em?
newest? No, that's not reverse. We got
You know what I like about Label My Bud?
cannabis law.
What do you like
is it?
about label my motherfucking butt?
When I was at the Detroit Cup a couple weeks ago, right? A couple weeks ago it was, or last week.
I want to say it was
Was that last
Couple
week?
weeks.
yeah,
Couple
a
weeks.
couple weeks.
He had a
It
little.
wasn't
He had
last
like a
week,
little
no.
plaque at every booth he works with.
Oh yeah.
That's genius to me. I seen that. I noticed that, and I was like, yeah, this guy's.
Oh
I mean,
yeah.
I've known of him for a long time, but I seen that, and I really like that.
Yeah.
Cross advertising.
Classy.
Classy.
It was nice.
Classy.
Uh,
Label my motherfucking butt.
Yeah. What about cannabis?
Michigan Cannabis
licensing?
Licensing. Do you guys know that guy? He's pretty
Yeah.
fucking awesome.
Who is that? Who's the lawyer?
Neil Vora?
yeah, I've been to his office.
Cool.
Smoked with
What's
him.
your problem, man?
Can't even say the sponsors, man. You cut me off.
My bad, bro. Go ahead. Do your sponsor thing. Sponsor.
Western Tobacco
I know.
in
of them.
Westland.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good guys.
Good guys.
And girls. I'm gonna
Yipsy Oil Supply out of Yipsy, of course. Valhalla Laboratories. Of course, Native Made 313.
Man, awesome.
Ghostbuster Farms, multiple cup winner.
Yep.
Honeybee Extractions. Shout out to
Hood Cup winner.
yeah, for sure. Green Thumb for President.
Also Hood Cup winner, as seen on TV.
Boom.
Fake murdered people in Ohio with edibles.
No, I said Green Thumb for President. Shout out to Dr. Greenbuds
Fake killed people
with
in
the
Ohio.
Buckeye suicides. As seen on TV,
Man.
that guy, Dr. Greenbuds. And shout out to Treats Out Wellness Group.
Is that it?
Yeah, I think that's it.
All right, man. I want to give a shout out to Green Thumb for President. Yeah.
Yes.
And Dr. Greenbuds, because I always like.
You always mix them up.
Yeah. Yeah. They're both like awesome.
All right, yo.
They're both synonymous with awesome. That's why.
Tune in next week.
Midnight Roots. The Roots? Questlove and them?
What?
Black Thought?
I don't know. Maybe he can get them motherfuckers here. That'd be dope. Just plug them into the board.
For sure. I think
All
it's
right,
gonna
so
happen.
tune
You
in
guys
next
should
week.
tune in.
You got that video keyed up? All right, man. Tune in next week, Midnight Roots. Thanks for coming, bro.
Thanks for having
Yeah.
me.
Peace.
Trash.
J-Rap, 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 J-Rap.